Hey guys, welcome back to another video, and in this video I want to share with you all things about being a government contract consultant, specifically speaking about how to choose clients. Now, I know I've done a lot of research trying to find books, just trying to find trainings about being a consultant, and specifically for government contracts, but there's not a lot of information about that. You can see and find tons of information, whether it's in books or whether or not it's on video about doing business with the government. But specifically as a contract consultant, there's not a lot of information about that. So I want to share with you just a few tips that I use in order to choose clients. The consulting business, in this term with the government, is just one of the businesses that I have. But there are specific things that as your business grow that you may want to make sure that you incorporate, so you can make sure that you're choosing the right client for the culture of your business. So stay tuned for the rest of the video. So specifically, when I started myself to provide, when I started wanting to actually get involved with the federal market arena, the federal government market arena, to actually take my services to the federal market, I enlisted the help of someone who was like a proposal writer or that type of thing. And so you can find those people on Fiverr. There's a lot of people who do actually does proposal writing and grant writings and that type of thing, but they don't really advertise it. But here's the pros and cons of that. Well, here's the cons. This is what I found. These people are typically they're not vested in whether or not you get the contract or not. You're going to pay them a per hour rate. And I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but you just really need to understand what you're getting yourself involved in. And I'm sharing this information with the intent for those people who are already involved with the contracting consultant side. If you're not involved with that already, this is not going to make a lot of sense to you. So maybe I'll make some kind of beginner-friendly videos later, but I just want to share with you this information because this is something that recently happened to someone else that I know. So I just want to share with you this because it's a little bit fresh. So let's say you find someone that says that, hey, you found the bid, you found the solicitation, you say, hey, I want to submit a proposal on this solicitation for my services to the federal government to hopefully win this contract. Well, you find someone that says that they're a proposal writer. Again, you can find them on Fiverr, or someone that who's wrote a lot of grants in the past. You can find those people anywhere. But here's the drawback. A lot of times these people are only invested in just writing a proposal. Whatever you give to them, that's only the thing that they're going to actually concern themselves with. But they're not really concerned on the outcome of whether or not you win the bid. Now, there's no promises in this actually. You know, you can't promise somebody that they're going to win the bid, but to really have someone that's hands-on with your proposal from the very beginning to the end, who's actually on the phone with the contract specialist, who's actually on the emails, who's probably actually walked the job site, is going to give me a better vantage point than someone you just hire. Now, I've worked with people just doing the proposal writing for me, for my services to the federal government, and it wasn't a good match. Again, they have no vested interest. Usually you're going to pay a per hour rate of them working on that proposal. Some may ask for a percentage of the contract at the end if the award is made, but at the end of that, when it's done and they completed their side of the work, they're done with you. They're not worried about whether or not that, or concerned about whether or not that proposal needs some updates and things of that nature. Is that when you're doing this and you're looking at the value that you will bring to a client, you need to understand when someone asks you what is the value that you bring, this is one of the things that you want to share with people. Hey, I'm going to ride this contract out from the very beginning to the end, and oftentimes you are the person who are bringing the solicitations to this specific client. They're not out here online or have someone else they're hiring separately to do this type of work for them. So you're helping them so much save time, and you're hands-on with the company. So you really begin to understand what that company needs from the very beginning, middle, and end until the award is made, and then your job is done. So let me just share with you just a few things that I have noticed as this business has grown, and any business that you have, as it grows, you want to scale. And so sometimes when you start a business, or you start in a specific niche, you take on people that you typically wouldn't take on, or you accept some things and behaviors as you grow because you feel like you need this learning experience and things of that nature. But choosing the right client is, I would suggest to you, never to do free. Meaning, if you have a consultation with someone, you need to charge something. Now, you have to determine what that is. You need to charge something. The reason why I say that, usually people do not have respect for free. I don't care if they have little money and they can be into a billionaire. They really don't respect free. And here you have to understand that 15, 20, or 30 minutes that you have with them, that is your time. There's no guarantee that this person is going to utilize your services. So you need to make sure that they have some skin in the game. And anybody that has been in business for any period of time understands that, they respect that, and if they don't respect that, you need to consider whether or not that person is the right person for you. I think encouraging people to do free is not a good corporate strategy. Now, just like creating YouTube videos, you may not get paid for these videos right off, but there is a method to the madness, so to speak. There's a reason that you are doing what you're doing, I'm doing what I'm doing, and I understand that strategy that is going to get me to my end goal, so I don't consider it free. If you want to get away and give free time, volunteer, create a nonprofit, but when you're trying to build your business, make sure that you understand corporate strategy. So doing free is not a great thing. People oftentimes don't respect, honor people doing things for free. Many times they devalue it, actually. And so you have to understand that your time is valuable, and make sure that you set that tone from the very beginning. I think that is probably one of the worst things that we can encourage people to do free without understanding what is the big picture. Okay, there has to be a bigger picture. It just can't be, well, you hoping that you get clients and I'm just going to give up my time for X, Y, Z. So I mentioned earlier about scaling, and when your business has grown, that you can scale. So you can be very particular about the clients that you choose. You don't have to accept everyone. And so you want to make sure that you're choosing clients that actually fit your culture. So you don't want people who, I personally don't want people who waits to the last minute to get me something. You want to set deadlines. You want people to be responsible and adhere to their word. So if they say they're going to make sure they get you this, this, and this is done on time and it's completed. Because one of the biggest things that I've learned with the government side and submitting proposals and doing the consulting, the farther you are ahead with your information and finding out when solicitations are going to come available, the greater you increase your chances of being awarded that contract. Whatever your culture and your tone is for your business, make sure that you're partnering with clients who meets and actually enhance that culture that you have. Don't step down from the values and the principles that you have established for your company to work with someone else. So it has whether it's the consultant side with the federal government or whether or not it's a retail business, it's the same process. You have to know the culture that you want to create and make sure that you are bringing in those clients who actually fits into your culture. All right, here's a big one. Make sure that your goals are shared, okay? If you are an entrepreneur, I don't think there's any entrepreneur got in business not to make money, right? So you have to understand and make sure, what is this person's goal? What is it that they're trying to achieve by getting the federal contracts? What are they trying to achieve? If they're looking at only making $10,000 or $15,000 or $300,000, how does that fit in with your fees? So again, we have to become more mature and be honest with ourselves and say, does this fit? Can they even afford my fees? What value can I bring to them? You don't want to just take on a client and you know you can't serve them. So that's operating out of integrity, which is one of my other points. You have to operate in integrity. I just recently had to fire a client because I found out that he was not operating with integrity. Now, what he was doing ultimately was not my responsibility. It didn't have any effect on me, but personally, because of the person that I am and the culture that I have set and my ethics and morals, I can't do business with someone that I know is operating in that magnitude. So I chose to terminate my services with him. I let him know exactly why I was doing what I was doing, and that's the blessing about being your own boss. You can do those types of things, but you make this clear up front. I don't cut corners. I'm not going to do anything that I know is illegal, and I'm going to try to adhere to all the rules and to the laws and that type of thing. And and that's it. So if you want to operate in that regard, you need to go find someone else. So make sure that you can do this person due diligence as well as them being able to do due diligence on your part, and make sure those things are written out. So if there's some specific things that you want to happen in your interaction with that company and those goals, talk about those things, put it out on the table up front. What is your goal? You know, what is your desire? How many contracts can you handle? You know, what is it? And it comes down to numbers, unfortunately. How aggressive do you want to be? You know, that's so important, because what you want to do is build a relationship with these people, so you don't have just a one-off experience, that you actually develop and cultivate a relationship with your client, so they will continue to be repeat business for you. And my next tip is to make sure that you choose people who are not afraid to allow you to do your job, and to allow you to be your best. Unfortunately, a lot of people really don't understand what it really takes to dig for solicitations and to be on the phone and making these appointments and sitting down with the contract specialist and those things. What people typically see is they think you just go to FedBiz Ops, you find a solicitation, you bid on it, and you get it. Well, sometimes that works for most people, but in the main, for what I've seen, most of the time when most of the solicitations hit FedBiz Ops, you are really behind the game. So really make sure that you're working with someone who will allow you to be your best. And what I have found, honestly, is just really explaining to people what I do, and what value I can bring to you. No, FedBiz Ops, yes, that's one website, but there's so many other ways to find solicitations, and it takes time. It takes digging. It takes time. And when you have something that has a deadline, you just got to get to work. You know, I can't be on the phone trying to call you. I've called you 4 or 5 times. I've left you a message. You haven't responded back. I've sent you an email. You haven't responded back. Well, but your procrastination cannot become my urgency. So you're not being professional as a business owner and making sure that you're returning my calls. So you should know that if I'm calling you, that I'm calling you for a specific reason, and you need to make sure you return my phone call as soon as possible. So make sure you're working with people who will allow you to be your best. And being your best is making sure you have your things, everything that you need on time, and that you can submit the information, that you have all the paperwork. You can go back through the information, make sure all your I's are dotted, your T's are crossed, so you can bring the best quality work to the specific client. So one more thing is make sure that you work with clients who really value and respect your craft. Anyone who works and wants to get contracts with the federal government should respect a consultant, but I don't think this is a topic or a title that's really talked about. Many times consultants are shown to be predators. And yes, there are a lot of them out here, but then yes, there are a lot of people out here that's really trying to do the right thing and trying to bring a great service to those companies and organizations who really want to do business and enter into the federal market arena. So I would say to you is to make sure that when you represent yourself, that you're doing it ethically and morally, because unfortunately, just like every other industry, there is people out here that's doing the wrong thing, and it makes it bad for the people who are trying to do the right thing. So don't lower your standards just because the noise says that everybody's a crook. I was in a training with how to do business with the GSA schedule, and there was a gentleman that asked about my services afterwards, and we communicated, but who asked the instructor about hiring consultants and someone doing contracts for them. Now the instructor had already asked people what did they do and that type of thing, so he knew it and what I did. But when he said it, he kind of looked over at me thinking that it would insult me. What he was saying was true. There's a lot of predators out here. There's a lot of people who take advantage of people. People are paid $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 with a promise that they will get a service that was never provided. And the reality of it is, I cannot promise you anything in terms of that you will get a contract. What I can promise you is these are and I will outline that to you. This is what I will provide. But the biggest chance, or the way that you increase your chances of getting a contract, is making sure that you actually do a lot of forecasting and market research, so you can kind of get ahead of the wind that circles around some of these solicitations, there are a lot of predators. But the crazy thing to me is that people are willing to pay somebody up front for a promise versus someone who actually can show them actual real results. Make sure that you're working with someone who values your position, and make sure that you can clearly articulate what you do and they really express the value that you're going to bring to a company. Anytime that you can have bring market research and you can do the background information for a company, who's buying their products, and you can share with them the information, how often these products or services are being purchased. That is valuable information. Anytime that you can get ahead of the wind in the storm of the bidding process, that is also valuable information. Anytime that you're researching for a client and you can show that these solicitations are coming available, that is a huge win. So that is the one big thing that I think in this industry, if it's going to grow, that we are willing to operate in integrity and truth, and that we can clearly articulate what we are providing to a client, understanding that there has been a lot of unfortunate happenings where people have been taken advantage of. And I mean, some people have lost a lot of money by working with someone who can promise them something that they can't promise. I can't promise you that you'll win the bid, but I can promise you that the services that I provide is going to be the best that you could possibly have. So if this is your full-time business, or if this is a part-time business for you, I think these are tips that you can use, as well as today, even going forward, as your business grows, as you scale. What that looks like in each one of these categories that I shared may look different, but you still should have a basis. Okay, so you are the face of your business and your brand, and you want to make sure that when people hear your name and when people see you, that it's always a positive experience. At least what you have represented. You can't help what people say, but you know that you presented your best. So as you choose clients for your business as a government consultant, make sure that you're choosing people based on some of the standards that I've given you. Also, comment below and let me know what are some of the tips that you use to pick clients, choose clients, or do you take on anybody and everybody? Maybe in the beginning that's a good idea, but then you have to learn to have standards. So make sure you comment, like, and subscribe. Stay tuned for upcoming videos, and make sure that if you are in this field and you're in this arena, make sure that we're making it a positive response or a positive interaction with everyone that we come into contact with. And make sure that if you know some other books and resources, I'm going to link a book below that I found specifically kind of on the consulting side. I keep saying contract, but on the consulting side, it's not a lot of information, and it needs to be a little bit more information put out here, so people need to talk about it a little bit more. So stay tuned for upcoming videos. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and I will look forward to talking to you soon. Take care, everybody. Bye bye.